Alright, so here we are on Fortnite with both controllers. Which one is better? Let's find out. Hey, what's up guys? Welcome back. In today's video, I'm going to be comparing a $50 controller to a $500 controller. So basically what I'm going to be doing is putting both controllers side by side and comparing them in categories like look, features, and price. As well as after I've done all that, I'm actually going to go in Fortnite with both controllers and try them out and test them for things like input delay, responsiveness, analog sticks, and just a whole bunch more. Pretty much the goal for this video is to just help you decide which controller is best for you, as well as to make sure you're not wasting your money on things you don't need. Also, just really quick, if you would like to see a video of me ranking every controller I have from best to worst, then definitely drop a like on this video. If this video gets the big 50,000 likes, then I'll go ahead and make that video. But just before the video starts, if you would like to subscribe with notifications on to never miss a video, and use code FLEET in the item shop to double your everything. It doubles your build speed, your edit speed, your running speed, literally every speed at this point. No, but anyway, let's get right into the video. Alright, so ladies and gentlemen, here we are with pretty much the most expensive controller you could possibly buy in the world. Yes, it is literally that expensive, so I'm going to go ahead and open it up right now. And basically, if you guys didn't see, I actually already made a video on this controller and it got 1.6 million views. And it goes over the entire process of me buying it, unboxing it, and trying it out in Fortnite. But in today's video, I'm also doing a comparison with a standard PS4 controller to see if it actually is worth spending this amount of money. So ladies and gentlemen, it has been a while, but here is the most expensive SCUF controller that you can possibly buy. Now this thing honestly looks like an absolute beast, and today we're going to be comparing it with BAM, a standard PS4 controller. So today these two controllers are going to go head to head in every single category, and by the end of the video I'm going to tell you which is better and why. Alright ladies and gentlemen, now the first thing we are going to be comparing is price. So starting off with a standard PS4 controller, just on its own it starts at $50, but with all the added attachments that I use like KontrolFreeks, grips, and trigger stoppers, it probably makes it about $85. Whereas this SCUF controller, which by the way has every possible attachment you can have on it, costed a whopping $360, which in my currency is well over $500. So yeah, quite a big price difference in between the two controllers. So the PS4 obviously wins in that category, but now let's go over design. And of course, it obviously goes without question, the SCUF controller easily wins this category. Just the fact that you can customize the SCUF controller in thousands of different combinations, it's honestly the best thing about a SCUF, especially if you care what it looks like. Alright, so the next category I'm going to be covering is buttons. Now if you guys didn't know, the SCUF Impact, which is this SCUF right here, actually uses a lot of the PS4 buttons, so there won't be much comparison here because everything does feel the same. But starting with the action buttons, the PS4 ones are actually a lot more clicky, whereas I feel like the SCUF Impact ones are definitely a lot more squishy. Over on the other side of the controller we have the D-pad. Now the D-pad on both controllers does feel the exact same. Same with the touchpad as well as the analog sticks. They all feel pretty much identical on both controllers. But now here's where it gets interesting, because this is where we start talking about the bumpers. So on this SCUF controller I actually got the digital tap bumpers, which in my personal opinion feels really good at first, but after a while, especially when you're playing, they just end up being really squishy. So I'm definitely not a fan of the digital tap bumpers, whereas on the PS4 controller it's just like a button click and I much more prefer it. As well as the triggers on the SCUF controller, I actually did get trigger stoppers, as you can see, and although they cost $20, they work exactly the same as my homemade trigger stoppers that I put on every controller. As you can see here, they pretty much do the exact same thing. And lastly, we obviously have the paddles on the back of the SCUF controller. Now these are really good feeling paddles. I actually like them, and they're some of the best paddles I've felt on a pro controller, whereas the PS4 controller does have its paddle attachment, and although it's nowhere near as good as a SCUF, for $30 it definitely gets the job done for two paddles. And the last thing I'd like to go over before I jump in Fortnite is features and accessories. So I do believe the SCUF controller does come with this little tool to change out the analog sticks, as well as this little EMR tool if you would like to remap the paddles, and it comes with this little pin tool if you do want to turn around the trigger stoppers. But I believe I did buy the expansion pack, which does come with another set of analog sticks, a little set of longer triggers, a tube of gamer grip, as well as the SCUF cable and SCUF case. Whereas the PS4 controller does actually come with nothing. Now this does look like a cool little bundle, but you definitely pay for it. Alright, but that's part one of the comparison done. Now let's jump in Fortnite and actually put these controllers to the test. Alright, so here we are on Fortnite with the hand cam set up. So I'm just going to start off with the PS4 controller and play for a little bit, then I'm going to move to the SCUF Impact and go over the differences that I noticed straight away. So obviously I use the PS4 controller all the time, so I haven't got much to say about it, but now let's try the SCUF and see what first impressions I noticed straight away when using it. And of course put on some Galaxy KontrolFreeks. Alright, so first impressions, actually straight away just picking up the controller because I got the vibration taken out. It is just so much more lightweight. Me personally, I'm not actually a fan of lightweight controllers. I prefer to actually have weight in my hands. Whew. I prefer to just turn off the vibration on my controller. Another thing I noticed, like I said previously, is that these action buttons just don't feel as clicky as the PS4 ones. They definitely feel a lot squishier and not as nice to click. I don't know if you can hear it. So here's a normal PS4 controller. And then here's the SCUF controller. So it's like, it's a lot softer when you press it, not a big fan of that. Now, one important thing I did notice as soon as I started using the SCUF controller is that the input delay isn't as instant as the PS4 controller. For some reason, the DualShock 4 PS4 controllers just have the best input delay out of every controller. Keep in mind on console, the input delays are probably the same, as well as every single PC, controllers will have different input delays because there's so many softwares that you can have. Different Windows updates and different drivers that can affect input delay, so it's a very personal thing. But as you can see, I'm still playing like more than okay. My edit speed is definitely hasn't suffered at all going to the SCUF controller, so it's not that big of a deal. Now, another thing that people are concerned about when buying a new controller is the comfort. And to tell you the truth, the shape of a controller never really bothers me as long as the analog sticks are symmetrical. Unlike the Xbox controllers that actually have the analog stick up here, that's the only time I find controllers uncomfortable. As long as it's got the PS4 layout, it doesn't bother me. As far as the analog sticks go, the SCUF ones are actually longer than the PS4 ones. So if you are someone that does use KontrolFreeks, you'll probably only need to use low-rise KontrolFreeks on a SCUF controller. And the last thing we're going to touch on is the longevity of these two controllers. Now, from my personal experience, the last PS4 controller I had actually lasted me an entire year. And on top of that, it still works perfectly fine. Whereas with a SCUF controller, you do have a lot more features and customization, but that can lead to a lot more issues with the controller. I've heard a lot of mixed opinions about SCUF controllers in the community, but if you have had one before, definitely let me know your experiences with it down in the comments. And also, if you don't use a SCUF controller, let me know what controller you use and why down in the comments below. I'd love to know. And yeah, that is about going to do it for this video. So in conclusion, which controller should you buy? Well, it depends on what you're looking for. If you're someone that wants heaps of customization, features, and paddles, then the SCUF is definitely for you. Whereas if you're someone who just wants to keep it simple, maybe you're a claw player like myself, add a couple of KontrolFreeks, trigger stoppers, and some grips onto your controller, then yeah, the standard $50 PS4 controller is definitely for you. And that is in fact the category that I fall under, the standard PS4 controller. And yeah, I really hope you guys enjoyed this video. Thank you all so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.